Welcome to the deep dive. We're here to cut through the noise, get straight to the heart of some complex ideas, giving you the insights you really need to feel well informed. Today, we're exploring something pretty fundamental: the human search for order in what often feels like chaos. We'll look at how different traditions, ancient wisdom, and even modern science offer paths to understand the universe and, well, our place in it. So, our mission today is a real deep dive. We're looking at ancient cosmologies, some profound philosophy, and cutting edge science. We'll explore how these views, which seem pretty different on the surface, maybe converge or diverge on things like cosmic order and consciousness. We've got insights from the Living Codex, which, just so you know, isn't one single ancient book, but more a collection of channeled insights about reality and consciousness. And we're putting that alongside the ancient Mayans, the philosopher Maimonides, his Guide to the Perplexed, and also what modern science is saying about consciousness. Expect some, well, surprising connections that might just make you think a bit differently. Okay, so let's start unpacking this with Maimonides. His Guide to the Perplexed, I mean, it's seen as hugely influential, right? Such a rational take on the divine.
Absolutely. It's a landmark work. And what's really core to his view is that the heavens aren't some kind of, Satan machine just dictating everything. He saw them more poetically, almost, as the breath of divine intellect folded into spheres of light, moving in phi-synchronized song.
Thigh, like the golden ratio.
Exactly, that universal constant for harmony you see in nature. So he's saying the universe runs on an intelligent, ordered rhythm, not just blind chance. And he was very, very clear. God is not physical, no body, no human-like form. He really rejected that idea.
Right, which must have meant he had to tackle how the scriptures sometimes describe God in very human terms. How did he, square that circle? How did he clarify that language?
He was incredibly methodical about it. He argued that those descriptions aren't literal. They're figurative homonyms, similes, allegories, basically ways to make really abstract concepts graspable for us humans.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Like when the Bible says God said, Maimonides explains it doesn't mean actual sound waves from a mouth. It means he willed it, or he desired it, or God's eyes or ears. That's about his perception or knowledge, not physical body parts. He constantly pushed for that deeper intellectual meaning beyond the physical.
Okay, that makes sense. It's about understanding the intent, not the literal image. So given this focus on intellect, what did Maimonides see as the ultimate goal for humans, like human perfection?
For Maimonides, perfection was all about developing the intellect, because that development leads you directly to knowledge of God. And he connected divine providence, God's guidance, directly to how much intellect a being has. The more you understand the order of things, the more aligned you are.
So understanding brings you closer.
Precisely. He had that really powerful line. If you know the order, you will not fear the storm.
That's quite something.
Yeah, the idea is that grasping the underlying structure of reality gives you a kind of resilience. It lessens fear, even when things get tough.
Now, he wasn't shy about criticizing other schools of thought either, was he? I'm thinking of the Mutakallimim. Who were they, and what was his issue with their methods?
Right. The Mutakallim. They were early Islamic theologians. And while Maimonides actually agreed with some of their conclusions, things like God being unified or incorporeal, he had a major problem with how they got there.
Their methodology.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He felt they relied too much on imagination, on sort of speculative arguments, instead of rigorous intellectual proof and logic. For him, the journey, the way you arrived at knowledge, was just as crucial as the conclusion itself.
So Maimonides offers this path through intellect. But what if understanding isn't purely abstract? What if it's tied into the rhythms of the world itself? Let's shift gears now and talk about the ancient Mayans. Their view of cosmic order seems much more grounded in observing the heavens, the earth.
It really was. I remember reading how one of the source authors was struck by the dance of the luminaries, watching a Mayan calendar presentation. It speaks volumes. Their cosmology fundamentally saw the world in three layers. You had heaven up top, the middle world where humans live, and then the underworld beneath.
And something connected them all.
Yes, the axis mundi, the world tree. It was this huge central pillar. Its roots went down into the underworld, the trunk supported our world and the heavens, and the branches reached out to the four cardinal directions. It literally oriented their universe.
The world tree. That sounds incredibly central. Did it connect to how they saw the human soul, too?
It did, and this is pretty amazing. In ancient Maya inscriptions, the word for the human soul is sakniknal.
Sakniknal.
Which translates literally to white flower thing.
White flower thing. Seriously.
Seriously. It refers directly to the white flowers of the ceiba tree, which was their world tree.
Wow, so the implication is...
Yeah, the human soul originated as a sacred flower on this cosmic tree's branches before it was, clothed in flesh.
Right. That's a beautiful, vivid image. Our essence as part of this cosmic tree.
Exactly. And it underlines their belief in a deep connection with all the other celestial beings. Their worldview really emphasized this interwovenness, this link between humans, the Earth, and the cosmos. The lines were much blurrier for them.
Okay, from the tangible world tree to something, well, much more abstract. Let's bring in the living codex perspective now, those insights we mentioned earlier. These concepts are pretty unique, aren't they?
They definitely are. Often quite abstract, but they seem to resonate with both ancient ideas and even some modern physics concepts, interestingly enough. The absolute core idea in the Living Codex is that the Creator interacts with us through consciousness. That's the fundamental premise.
And how they define consciousness.
As the electric harmonic field. So it's not just something inside our heads. It's presented as this fundamental energetic quality of reality itself, like a field that permeates everything.
An electric harmonic field. And breath is key here, right?
Hugely important. The Codex calls breath consciousness's entrainment vector.
Entrainment vector.
Meaning it's the way we tune into or synchronize with this fundamental field. Think about it this way. Every breath in is a collapse of possibility into form.
Okay.
And every breath out is a release back into potential.
So breathing is like creating and uncreating reality.
In a sense, yes.
Yeah.
It suggests this creates a constant bidirectional waveform, like a sine wave going back and forth. And this waveform, it says, maps precisely onto the basic rhythm, the ontological pulse of the entire material universe.
Which cycles how often?
An almost unbelievable number, around 22 trillion times per second. So in this view, your breath, just the simple act of breathing, is a direct echo of the entire universe's pulse.
Mind-boggling. And what about the cosmic vine? That sounds very Mayan, but I suspect it's different here.
It is different, yeah. In the Codex, the cosmic vine isn't just matter or energy as we usually think of them. It's described as a scalar harmonic filament.
Scalar harmonic?
Yeah, like an invisible energy thread, or maybe a phase attractor that weaves coherence, that weaves order across cosmic scales. Imagine an underlying energetic pattern organizing things.
And it connects to DNA.
Exactly. It's noted that this vine mirrors the helix shape of DNA. The suggestion is that form, structure emerges from these harmonic patterns, these organizing energies, not just from gravity or random bumping around of particles.
And it even suggests we have a role to play, something about quiescent nodes.
Right. It introduces this idea of quiescent nodes, perhaps points of stillness or focused awareness that can actually invite this cosmic vine-like coherence into being. It implies we can consciously participate in maintaining or even enhancing this cosmic order.
Okay, so we've gone from Maimonides' intellect to the Mayans' grounded cosmology to the Codex's harmonic fields and breath. How does any of this connect with what science actually observes? This seems like the perfect place to bridge these ideas with modern scientific discovery, especially around consciousness. Can science shed light on any of this?
Well, let's think about modern physics. Quantum mechanics back in the early 20th century completely changed the game, didn't it? We learned that particles like electrons aren't just tiny dots. They also act like waves. And while you can't predict exactly where one electron will be before you look, it's probabilistic.
The Heisenberg uncertainty principle, right?
Exactly. But what's key is that if you do the experiment hundreds of times, you get a probability distribution, a pattern you can reproduce with incredible precision. So even within the randomness, there's a deep underlying order.
Okay, so order beneath the chaos at the quantum level. How does that scale up to, say, the brain? We know neurons fire with electrical signals.
Right, neural signaling involves ions, charged particles moving around. That's the standard picture. But research is increasingly showing that it's not just about individual neurons firing. There are also larger-scale electric coherence currents and EM fields within the brain that seem crucial.
Like orchestra conductors for the neurons.
Sort of, yeah. Think about local field potentials, LFPs. Those are signals from groups of neurons. The idea is they might get phase-locked, synchronized by ion channels and synaptic activity, creating this broader electrical harmony.
So the field itself might be doing something important, not just a side effect of the neurons firing.
That's the really exciting question. Some studies suggest these emergent oscillation and flow shapes in the brain's electric field, the kind of things EEG brain scans pick up, distinct from single neurons, might actually magnetically orchestrate flurries of molecular machinery.
Magnetically orchestrate. Wow.
Yeah, it suggests brain cells are maybe less like independent soldiers and more akin to an ecosystem, all interconnected and influenced by these shifting EM fields. It's a much more holistic picture.
And this connects directly back to consciousness.
Potentially, yes. There's research suggesting brainwaves aren't just noise. They're not merely an epiphenomenon.
Meaning they do something fundamental.
Right. One idea, sometimes called CMI theory, points to a large roving concentration of semi-stable gamma activity, a specific type of brainwave pattern that moves around and blends with local activity. This moving gamma wave focus could be the primary orchestrating factor in experiential awareness. Maybe even, and this is speculative but fascinating, a root of volition of our conscious will.
And this all comes back to basic physics.
Ultimately, yes, it links back to the fundamental electromagnetic properties of atoms, of nuclei, and electrons. It hints that maybe our consciousness, our very experience of being, is deeply tied into these fundamental fields, perhaps resonant with that cosmic electric harmonic field the Codex talks about.
Okay, let's try to pull these threads together. We've covered a lot of ground: Maimonides, Mayans, living Codex, modern science. What are the common themes emerging here?
Well, despite the vastly different languages and frameworks, there's definitely a shared grappling with fundamental questions, isn't there? All of these sources, in their own way, are trying to find or describe an underlying order and interconnectedness in the universe and in us. They're all pushing beyond just observing what is to understanding this, so what the meaning or structure behind existence.
Right, the search for order is universal, but their approaches, their explanations are quite distinct.
Very distinct.
Yeah.
Take the nature of the divine or the origin.
Yeah.
Maimonides gives us this incorporeal, unified God whose intellect or will shapes things. The Mayans offer this beautifully organized cosmos centered on the world tree, deeply connected to celestial beings. Then the Living Codex says consciousness is the fundamental electric harmonic field, and the creator interacts through that.
By modern science.
Modern science describes the how quantum mechanics, EM fields, with incredible precision, but it generally doesn't venture into defining the who or what of origins in the same way these other traditions do. It focuses on mechanism.
Okay, what about the mechanisms of connection? How do we link into this order?
Again, very different paths. Maimonides emphasizes intellectual development, understanding God through reason. The Mayans point to the symbolic power of the world tree, maybe even biophotonic links, seeing our essence as literally part of the cosmos. The Living Codex gives us breath as the entrainment vector, a direct physical way we tune into that universal pulse.
And science offers
Physical mechanisms, EM fields in the brain, quantum effects. It suggests our connection might be rooted in the fundamental physics governing our bodies and brains.
Finally, how do they help us find meaning in chaos? How do we live with uncertainty or difficulty?
Maimonides offers comfort through understanding. Know the order, fear not the storm. Intellect brings peace. The Living Codex is more active, isn't it? It invites you to become a living node, to consciously participate in weaving coherence. It gives you agency.
And science, does it offer meaning?
Not in the same philosophical or spiritual sense, perhaps, but by revealing the intricate mechanisms, the stunning complexity and underlying principles of reality. It offers a different kind of awe and understanding. It deepens our appreciation for the very systems the older traditions described more metaphorically. It gives us another powerful lens.
So, weaving this all together, what does it mean for you listening right now? Perhaps the real deep dive isn't just reading these sources, but exploring how your own consciousness, maybe with its own electric harmonic field, its own entrainment vectors like breath, might actually be a living, breathing echo of that cosmic order we've been talking about. What if, by actively listening, maybe, to the silence between breaths, you could start to hear the original tone, the music of your own being, the one you forgot you were even right here, right now, amidst all the noise of the world? Something to think about.